back to my channel. I'm excited to have you here because today we are diving into a topic that will transform the way you speak and understand English. Phrasal verbs. Now, you may be wondering what exactly are phrasal verbs. Well, they are a fascinating little combination of verbs with preposition or adverbs that can completely change the meaning of a sentence. For instance, the verb get can morph into get up, meaning to rise from bed, or get along, which means to have a good relation with someone. Isn't that cool? This expression pop up everywhere in everyday conversation, and understanding them is like unlocking a secret code of the English language. And throughout this video, we are not just going to learn about these phrasal verbs, we'll explore their meanings with fun examples and interesting stories that will help you remember them better. So, grab a notepad, get comfy, and let's make phrasal verbs fun and engaging. Trust me, by the end of this session, you'll be using this expression with confidence and flair. Ready? Let's jump right in. Phrasal verbs are such fun and interesting part of the English language. Basically, they are combinations of a verb with a preposition or an adverb that take a whole new meaning. For instance, when you say look up, you're talking about searching for information, like checking a word in the dictionary. But if you say look after, you're referring to taking care of someone or something. It's amazing how one change can flip the meaning completely. You hear phrasal verbs all the time in everyday conversations, which makes them super important to learn if you want to sound more like a native speaker. They pop up in casual chats, movies, books, and basically all around us. The more you practice with this expression, the more natural your English will feel. So dive in and start picking them up. Impressing friends and surroundings, sounding fluent before you know it. Let's dive into the world of phrasal verbs. This handy combination adds a lot of flavor to our language. A phrasal verb is made of two key parts. Main verb, this is the action word that gives the phrase its core meaning. Think of it as the star of the show. Then we have particle. This can be a preposition or an adverb. It's a little word that tags along and often changes the meaning of the main verb in surprising ways. Take for example the phrasal verb give up. Here's how it breaks down. Give is a main verb and suggests some action of providing or transferring something. Up is a particle, and when you pair it with give, it completely shifts the meaning instead of just giving something away. Give up means to stop or try to surrender. So when you say you give up on something, you're not just handing it over, you're indicating that you've decided to let it go and stop your efforts. Phrasal verbs like this can really spice you up your conversation and writing, making an expression more vibrant and relatable. Let's take a more in-depth look at some commonly used phrasal verbs, which are phrases that consist of a verb paired with one or more particle, like preposition or adverb. This combination can create meanings that are often quite different from the meaning individual words involved, and understanding this phrasal verb is essential for mastering English as they are frequently used in everyday conversation and writing. I will provide a range of examples to illustrate this point. For instance, the verb give on its own means to hand something over. When you pair it with the particle up to form give up, it changes the meaning to surrender or stop trying. Another example is a verb take, which means to grab or receive. But when combined with off, to create take off, it can mean to remove something, or in a different context, for a plane to leave the ground. And by examining this example, we can gain insight into how context shapes meaning and how mastering phrasal verbs can significantly enhance our fluency and comprehension in English. Example number 1, look up. The phrase look up is pretty interesting because it has two main meanings that we use all the time in the conversation. First off, when someone says I look up the information for you, They really say they'll do little digging to find what you need, like checking website or flipping through a book. It's a handy way to let someone know you've got their back when they need some answers. But then there's other meaning, which is all about positivity. When people say things are starting to look up, it's like they're shedding some light on tough situation, indicating that things are finally improving. After a rough patch, it's that great moment when you realize that all hard work is paying off. So, whether you're tracking down facts or celebrating a turn of fortune, look up is a phrase that definitely adds some color to our conversation. Now, let's talk about the phrase take off. It's a fun one with a couple of different meanings that really bring it to life. First, when we say the plane will take off at 3 p.m., we are talking about that exciting moment when the aircraft lifts off the runway and heads into the sky. It's a pivotal part of the flying, isn't it? Everyone is plugged in, and there's that thrill in the air as the engines roar and the plane ascends into the clouds. Now, on the flip side, take off can also describe a moment in someone's life or career that just skyrockets. For example, if you hear someone say his career really took off after the TV show, they mean that his professional journey started to blossom and gain traction after the show aired. It's like a launching pad that propelled him into a spotlight, opening up a world for new opportunity and success. It's interesting how one phrase can paint such a different picture, whether it's about plane climbing into the sky or someone's career hitting new heights. Take off captures that sense of movement and exciting change. Suddenly, here's a more coherent, smoothly connected explanation of the phrasal verbs are versatile component of the English language, and they can be categorized based on how they interact with the object and the structures. Understanding these types not only helps in effective communication, but also clarifies the relationships between the different action and their contexts. Let's take a closer look at each type. Intransitive phrasal verbs function independently and do not require direct objects to convey the meaning. They express a complete thought without needing to specify what or whom the action affects. An example can be the plane took off. Here, took off represents a complete action indicating that plane has left the ground without needing an object for clarity. This sets the stage for understanding how some verbs can stand alone and still effectively communicate an idea. Transitioning from intransitive verb, we encounter transitive phrasal verb, which build upon this idea by introducing the necessity of direct object to complete the meaning. Transitive phrasal verb, unlike the intransitive counterpart, require a direct object to make sense. They indicate actions that have direct effect on someone or something. An example can be, she looked up the word in the dictionary. In this case, the phrasal verb look up clearly requires the direct object, the word, to specify what she was searching for. And this type shows how action can shift from being standalone to needing further clarification through direct objects. And as we explore transitive phrasal verbs, we move towards separable phrasal verbs, which offer a unique flexibility in their structure while still maintaining a connection to a direct object. Separable phrasal verbs are a specific subgroup of transitive verbs that allow the particle to either follow directly after the verb or be separated by the direct object. This property illustrates the flexibility of language. She put the meeting of both expression work showcasing how the direct object can fit seamlessly between the verb and the particle, adding variation in usage while preserving meaning. This demonstrates a nuanced relationship between the components, highlighting the versatility of phrasal verbs. In contrast, we now consider inseparable phrasal verbs, which reinforce the notion that not all phrasal verbs enjoy this flexibility. Inseparable phrasal verbs require the verb and particle to stay together. They do not allow a separation by a direct object, as doing so would alter the intended meaning. For example, he ran into an old friend. In this case, ran into must remain intact, indicating an encounter. Separation cannot occur without losing the clarity of the action. This highlights a key distinction from the previously mentioned separable phrasal verb, emphasizing how language can both bind words closely together and allow for fluidity, depending on specific grammatical structure. Together, these various types of phrasal verbs illustrate the rich complexity of the English language, showcasing how actions, objects, and the relationships between them function within our expressions. Understanding this distinction equips you with tools necessary to navigate conversation and writing more effectively. Alright, let's put your understanding to the test. I'll provide you with several sentences that have missing phrasal verb. See if you can fill in the blanks with the correct verbs to complete each sentence. She needs to have shoes before entering the house. How many failures he decided to his start-up idea. When I heard the news, I couldn't help but. Share your answer in the comments below. I'm excited to see how you all perform. Now, let's talk about some tips and strategies for mastering phrasal verbs. Tip number 1. Learn them in context. Instead of simply memorizing a list of phrasal verbs, focus on how they are incorporated into sentence and real conversations. This approach allows you to grasp the nuance and specific meaning of each verb within different contexts. Consider creating example sentences or finding dialogues in books or online that illustrate the usage. Tip number 2. Practice, practice, practice. Consistently integrate phrasal verbs into your daily speech and writing. The key to making them feel natural is repetition. Try to consciously use a few new phrasal verbs each day, whether in casual conversation with friends, in emails, or in journal entries. The more you incorporate them into your communication, the more you will solidify your understanding and fluency. Finally, tip number 3. Watch movie and TV shows. Engage with movie and television that feature natural dialogue. Pay close attention to how native speakers utilize phrasal verbs in various scenarios, noting their tone, context, and any variations in meaning. Consider watching with subtitles to better track the verbs and the implication. Afterwards, you might even practice repeating phrases to improve your pronunciation and intonation. Remember, practice makes perfect. The more you use phrasal verbs in your everyday conversation, the more natural they will become. Embrace them, have fun with them, and watch your English skills soar. Did you find this video helpful? If so, show some love by giving it a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell icon to stay updated with our latest session and tips. Your support means the world to us and helps keep the content coming. Got any questions or need further clarification? Drop a comment below. We love hearing from you and are here to help you. Let's keep the conversation going. Thanks for watching. Keep learning.